What's up, y'all? This is Raygee, and today I'm gonna give you guys 5 tips on how to improve your vocal recording. So, let's get started. Alright, so like I said, I'm gonna give y'all 5 tips on how to improve your vocal recordings. Now, these tips aren't relying on the equipment you have or even how expensive your equipment is. Instead, these are tips that anybody can follow with whatever setup they have at home. So tip number 1, make sure that the artist is in the zone and comfortable. Now in the beginning, most people don't realize this, but a vocal recording is just basically a recording of a performance. And just like a performance, if the artist isn't in the right energy, isn't in the right mood, is shy or whatever, you're not gonna get the best recordings. So, as the audio engineer, you have to make sure that the artist is in the right state of mind, comfortable, ready to go, even before they start recording on the mic. Or else you're gonna end up with something like this.
Sometimes, man, I feel like I'm Picasso. Leonardo, homie, with the hot flow. Michelangelo, the way I rock though. When I get to working in this booth, I feel like Pablo. Hey, I feel like Pablo.
When in fact, you want something like this.
Sometimes, man, I feel like I'm Picasso. Leonardo, homie, with the hot flow. Michelangelo, the way I rock though. When I get to working in this booth, I feel like Pablo. Hey, I feel like Pablo.
Pretty dope, right? There's a big difference. So always keep that in mind. Make sure that the artist is ready to go in the zone before they start recording. Tip number 2, make sure that you have a good recording environment. Now, a lot of people tend to spend most of the money on their gear and equipment without actually realizing that they should also spend some time on creating a very dead space or a dead room. Now, what do I mean by a dead room? Well, you want to make sure that the mic doesn't pick up a lot of the room characteristics and the reverb. Now, you can do this in multiple ways. One way is actually to use something like this. I think it's called a vocal guard. And this goes around your mic. So the inside absorbs sound and frequencies while the outside reflects it. Another thing that you can use is acoustic paneling. With acoustic paneling, if you cover about 50% of your room with it, you should have a pretty decently dead room that you can record in. Another thing that people use are dividers, and they're basically portable walls. One side has absorbent materials. I don't even know if I said that right. But the other side is used to reflect sound and other frequencies. Now the absorbing side is faced towards the artist, and you can basically create a small room with these absorbers. Now a lot of the big studios with big recording floors, I've seen them use that most commonly. Now in the SEC studio, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the room that I'm in isn't really that dead. So what we did instead was we built a vocal booth, and the same thing applies with the vocal guard as well as the dividers. The inside has absorbing surfaces while the outside is reflective, so all the frequencies bounce off it. Tip number 3. Make sure there's a good distance between the microphone and whoever it is that you're recording. Now, a lot of people when they start out, they either are too close to the mic or too far away, and you're really not gonna get the best, cleanest sound from that. What you wanna do, or what you wanna try, is to be at least 6 inches away from the mic. Now, the way I usually measure it out is I take my thumb and my pinky, hold it out, and that should be how far I am from the microphone. Now, as the audio engineer, make sure that whoever it is you're recording, before you hit the record button, is at a good distance away. Remember, you really want to get the best and the cleanest sound, and it's really going to be up to you to make sure that you get that. Tip number 4, keeping an eye on the gain controls. Now when I say gain, I don't mean gains, but I mean the increasing and decreasing of the sensitivity of your mic, and that's usually your preamp. Now if you turn up the gain too high, you might get a sound like this. And as you can hear, the signal is coming in too hot, and just based off of it being too loud, I'm going to probably be hitting the distortion point. And that distortion is something that you can hear on this recording. Now if you have the gain turned too low, you might get a sound like this. Now if the gain is too low, that means the vocals is going to be low, which means during your mixing process, you're probably going to want to boost that volume up. And when you boost it up, you're not only boosting the vocals, but you're also boosting the noise floor, which is what you can hear in the background. And that's not something you really want to have. So my advice is to find a middle ground when it comes to how much gain you're going to give or take away. Some artists are going to be naturally loud, and some artists are going to be naturally quiet. So before they even start recording, do a little test run first, do a little sound check, and get them to rap or sing and adjust the gain and make sure it's at the optimal position. Now keep in mind, in some songs, the same artist is going to be loud in certain parts and quiet in others. So you always got to keep an eye on that gain and change it whenever you feel that you need to. Again, it's really going to be up to you as the engineer to spot all these things, as the artist is just going to be doing their thing, recording, singing, and so forth. And last, tip number 5, don't be afraid to punch in people in their recordings. Now I want to make sure you heard me correctly. I said punch in people. I hope you didn't hear me say punch people during the recordings, because you probably will not have more artists coming to record with you. Punching in recordings means you don't necessarily have to record a person from the start to the end of the song. You can record them at different parts of the song itself or the verses or so forth. For example, if there's a 16-bar verse and you notice that when the artist raps the whole thing all at once, that the energy may be different from the start and the end of the verse. So if you want to keep it consistent, what you might do is get them to record the first 8 bars of the verse, take a rest, and then record the next 8 bars of the verse. That way you keep the mood or the energy consistent. Another reason why you might want to punch in people in their recordings is they might be running out of breath. So having them do small bits and pieces and giving them breaks in between will make sure that the vocals come out clean, precise, and obviously they don't sound like they're out of breath. Another thing that you can do is have multiple takes and then take the best parts out of those and create one main perfect take. Now that's very common and a lot of studios use that, including me. And that's basically it. Like I said, these are tips that anybody can do with any kind of setup. So I want you guys to go out there, try them out, experiment, and let me know which ones worked for you and which ones didn't. Again, this is Raygee of Southeast Cartel. Knowledge is power, experience is key. Till next time, y'all. Peace.
Bagong alamat, kami nagsulat. Di umindak, tayo'y aangat. Bagong alamat.